What's the trashiest wedding you've been to? At a park. Pickup trucks with igloo coolers open on the tailgate were the bar. Everything was served in red Solo cups before the wedding. Everyone got drunk. The bride walked down the aisle drinking from a red Solo cup instead of holding a bouquet. It was essentially a tailgate party with a preacher invited. My own. In a Mississippi judge's office with a bag of Cheetos on her desk. She wiped her hands on a napkin, grabbed a Bible, and did her thing with orange crumbs on her lips. Her work heels were not on because she was in her office. It was extremely rush. I understand that she was on her break, but we didn't mind waiting. It's why they rushed us through. A wedding on the beach behind Hooters. The officiant stood next to a trash bin. As if it was planned, the trash collector pulled up during the vows. Did he wait to change the bag? Absolutely not. Children at the wedding swarmed the couple like the flies around the trash, and just after the kiss, stepping all over her dress. She bent over to adjust her sandal, and a pack of Marlboro Reds fell out of the bust along with her right breast. It felt like we were rubbernecking instead witnessing a marriage. Camo print wedding dress that was borderline see-through. Walked down the aisle to the Scooby-Doo theme. No, nobody knows why they chose that song, including the couple themselves. They divorced a few months later after they both stopped cleaning the house in an act of defiance against one another. I was actually the bartender, but it was a voot. First, wedding was outside and it stormed violently. Groom was hammered pre-wedding. Hit on all the bartenders. Then the DJ got hammered, made lewd comments to women in the microphone. Then basically everyone was hammered, knocked over the wedding cake, which also happened to be a table with many candles, so the place caught on fire. Good times. Often wonder how that marriage worked out. Waitress at a bogan wedding. The night ended with the chef and I rounding up the kids and barricading us all in the kitchen, and locking the doors to prevent the melee of fighting adults outside from A, accessing more weapons, some of them BYO'd knives, and B, hurting the kids. They ranged in age from toddlers to preteens. It was just the chef and I, 2 women and a whole bunch of screaming and frightened kids until the police came and carted everyone off to jail. Wedding photographer showed up the next morning for the scheduled photo shoot. I had to tell him he could find the wedding party at the local jail. The chef and I are still friends, but we both quit that place shortly after that epic wedding. I once worked a wedding where come time for the first dance no one could find the groom. Turns out, he went to the resort's shooting barn to shoot clay pigeons. Upon learning this news, the bride reacted by cursing up a storm on the dance floor. I DJ weddings. Nowadays I have my own company, but years ago, I was hired out by another company. This wedding was from them. The cake topper depicted a bride dragging a groom by the scruff of the neck. The groom and his groomsmen were all in baggy ill-fitting suits and dirty running shoes. They at least waited until after the ceremony to put on their, also dirty, baseball caps. At one point there was supposed to be a special dance, but no one could find the groom, so that dance didn't happen. The bridesmaids were drunk enough that they both loved and hated every song I played and expressed this to me as I dropped each tune. I don't take gigs like that anymore. Ceremony was in a park not booked or decorated, just showed up and found a spot. Reception was at a scout hall. No decorations again, and for catering the bride's family went through Red Rooster drive-thru and got a bunch of whole chickens and chips. Like, 5 different cars went through one after the other and ordered. They didn't even pre-order. Groom and all his friends were high as kites, and only reason bride wasn't is because she announced she was knocked up. Groom and his mates bought their dirt bikes and after eating went out and rode them around the hall. Was so loud and muddy. It was in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It was a 5 p.m. wedding, and there was no food served, and we couldn't just run out and get McDonald's or something because there was nothing around. We had to help set up tables. We had to fill out our own thank you cards. They even had an example for us to follow. Dear Dash, thank you for the blank. We'll use it to blank dot. Then, they asked us to help take down the tables as well. I refused to help and got the hell out of there. Also, no cake. I had one of my friends from high school get married in a trashy way. His fiancée at the time invited him to lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings, and she had also invited the whole family. They were in on it, and once my friend showed up he found out it was a surprises wedding, just like you would do a surprise birthday party. The even trashier part is they didn't reserve the restaurant or anything, so in his wedding photos, standing in front of the bathrooms by the way, you can see complete strangers coming out of the bathrooms. Oh boy, this is my time to shine. So my uncle was a preacher, but also owned a restaurant. A 16-year-old got married to her 17-year-old boyfriend in the back room. Her name was Candy. After the ceremony she opened her wedding gifts like it was her birthday. One of the waitresses, Brenda, had given her her old lingerie as a gift. I remember during the reception, Candy went out back to throw the lingerie into a dumpster while Brenda sang these boots were made for walking on karaoke. For their honeymoon, her mom bought them a room at the Holiday Inn around the corner, but they got bored so they came home. A friend's wedding. She was walking down the aisle and had to pause to put out her cigarette. It was a small wedding and her friends thought it was hilarious. Married less than 2 years. She married him because he was in the military and she thought she was getting cash for life. He chose deployment to a war zone over staying with her. A co-worker of mine got married in her driveway. On the invitation it said that everyone had to wear the color purple, and they served KFC and Hostess cupcakes for dessert. Music was a boombox with the local light rock station playing. The worst part was that she let her dogs crap all over the driveway during the reception, so no one ever picked up the poop. We all just kinda weirdly hopped around it in our variety of purple hues. I was a wedding DJ for years and have seen a few things. Guests throwing up, trashy dancing, but the one that takes the cake is the full brawl that broke out at a very nice country club. This was pre-cell phone, so unfortunately I never got any video of this. The bride's brother and the best man did not like each other already, and to make matters worse, at the head table the bride's brother takes off his tux jacket and shirt during dinner to reveal his wife-beater t-shirt underneath. The best man comes over and reminds him where he is, and the two of them exchange words. There's a little shoving and the BB is asked to get some air. Things are fine and later BB comes back during the dancing, although at this point he's still not dressed. Whatever, people are dancing and having fun. At the end of the night, BB can't find his jacket and starts making some noise about it. He starts calling out BM because he thinks he took it. He's drunk and cursing up a storm and BM is done with him. BM walks up behind BB, taps him on the shoulder, and in the moment BB turns around, BM slugs him, and it begins. Everyone has their beer muscles on at this point and gets in on it. Groomsmen, bridesmaids, the hall manager tries to break it up and gets a stray hand to the face. The bride winds up hitting the deck and going full turtle. She was a larger woman and couldn't get up because of the fit of her dress. It was like watching a tornado that started on one side of the hall and was quickly moving my way. I raced to pack up my equipment ASAP and was getting my gear out to the car just as the police arrived. I didn't stick around to see what happened. I'm quite happy they paid me earlier in the evening. This one's a twofer. The bride's best friend, an MOH, uses the wedding to announce that she's pregnant with the groom's child. Cut 2, divorce after 2.5 years of trying to make it work, and now groom is marrying the previous MOH, his baby mama, when the now ex-wife and, for some unknown reason the MOH, announces that she's also pregnant with, you guessed it, the groom's child. Both weddings had great food and an open bar, so I can't complain, plus I got a great story out of it. Probably mine. My wife and I married after only knowing each other for 3 months. We were married in front of a judge on a Saturday morning. We're standing up there and they bring in all the guys that got arrested from the night before, mostly for drunk and disorderly or whatever. And I thought, oh no. We have to get married in front of these guys? But the judge was pretty cool and he took us back to his chambers and married us there. When we were walking out of his chambers, all the guys they had brought in were smiling at us. It was really weird, but hey, we've been married now for 31 years. So I guess we can't complain too much. A family member of mine's second wedding reception was held inside an indoor gun range. The groom was obviously an avid hunter because the entire wedding party was wearing camouflage suits and the bonus was the open bar consisting on 2 kegs of Coors Light sitting trash cans filled with ice.